You have to change your exercise program every 6 weeks to shock the body if you want to grow. Hey everyone, Cam here, helping you to stay fit. And for those of you who don't already know, I fly airplanes in the military, and every so often we have to go back in for some refresher training on the altitude chamber, which is essentially them taking us up to high altitudes like 25,000 feet, taking off your oxygen, and then seeing what it's like to get hypoxic so that you recognize your symptoms and hopefully get oxygen on if it happens in real life so that you don't die and end up crashing planes. But before you go in and do that, they go through a couple hours of physiology classes. It's always cool to get refreshers on this stuff, but then we got to the exercise part, and the instructor was saying how, you need to make sure you're exercising, staying fit, especially for the fighter pilots out there. You're pulling lots of G's. It's stressful for the body. The stronger you are, the better it helps you to just deal with those situations. But then he said, and with lifting weights, you need to make sure you are changing your exercise program every 6 weeks to shock the body, because that is the only way to make sure it keeps growing. And I just sat there and was like, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I don't want to be in here all day debating this. But if that was the truth, then I would not have made any gains over the past almost 2 years. I've been following the same push-pull leg split pretty much close to 2 years now, and I have gained almost a whole 1.5 inches in each of my arms, and about, I think I just measured yesterday, I think it's right at 3 inches in each of my quads. So I'm pretty happy with those results, and I just want to tell you that if you have a program that is working for you, why are you going to change it up? Really, that's a good way to not progress, because what happens is, maybe after a month, 4 weeks, if you're hitting the same body parts twice a week, well, that's four, what am I thinking, 4? That's 4 weeks, so that's 8 times you're hitting that same body part. So you're just getting good at that movement, and now we're gonna switch it up to shock the body. What you're doing is not allowing yourself to progress and get really good at a movement. You're gonna keep switching it up, and then you gotta start back at, okay, how much weight can I do? Make sure I have good form. Now I'm gonna start getting stronger in that lift while I'm getting weaker in the one that I just got good at. So there are times, yes, when maybe you should change things up. For instance, let's say you're a beginner and you're doing a full body workout 2-3 times a week. When I set up programs for people, full body beginners, I usually do some supersets of back-to-back compound movements for chest, back, legs, and then a few accessory movements for some of the other muscles. And it takes maybe 35 to 40 minutes. You do that 2-3 times a week, you're good. Well, once you start to progress and maybe you enjoy lifting weights and you want to do more, so then maybe you switch it up and you do 4 times a week where you're doing an upper-lower split. So one day is chest and back, and then the next day is legs. You rest, do the same thing again. And then you're changing it up in that sense to where you're adding new movements. But you're still doing those main compound movements that you would have done in the full body workout. That's the baby, by the way. But now, what you're doing is adding in extra movements to do after those main lifts, because I always start all of my workouts with the compound lift. For legs, I'm doing squats. For chest, I'm doing a bench press. For back, I'm doing deadlifts and bent rows, or some kind of row. And then maybe you could progress even more from there, like I'm doing now. I do legs, push, pull, so that's even more volume because I'm focusing specifically on legs, get all the leg work done. Then I go to my push day, I'm doing chest, shoulders, triceps, and can get more work in on just that area of the body than the same with the back. Focus even more on it. So those are times I say, yeah, change it up when you're moving to a new level and you're gonna be adding to what you're already doing. But if something is working for you, keep tracking your progress, progressive overload. Look at, hey, I got this many reps with this weight this time. I'm gonna try to get 1 or 2 more reps on my next workout, or maybe I'm gonna add 5 pounds to that bench press and see if I can hit the same number of reps as I did today. It's that kind of tracking you need to do, and taking pictures, taking measurements, seeing if you have progress over time, because if you are, you don't need to change anything. Just keep slowly improving, and it's really fun when you keep seeing yourself improve like that. What's another time maybe you should change it up? Injuries. For example, for legs, I've been doing lunges for almost 2 years now. I do squats first, then lunges, then I do some other accessory things like leg extensions, leg curls. I have a whole video that you can look at what I do on a leg day and my push and pull day, that I'll link those in the description for you if you're interested in seeing what my programming is. But my lunges, I've was getting to the point where my right knee was just starting to hurt because I was getting up to where I was using 80 to 90 pound dumbbells for my top sets in each hand. And that's really heavy. And it was definitely working for me. My legs have been growing really well, but my right knee just started hurting when holding that much weight, lowering myself onto one knee, lifting back up. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna try something different. And I did my own little rigged up version of a belt squat because I don't have a whole lot of options in my garage gym. So I have a Rogue landmine I hooked up with a barbell. I stacked up some of my bumper plates, stood on top of it, got my dip belt, hooked it around the barbell, and started doing belt squats. And let me tell you, just like I was saying, if you're always changing something up and you got to get used to that new movement, those first few sessions I did with those belt squats were really tough. I couldn't do as much weight. I've already added almost 50 pounds to what I was doing in the first few sessions because now I'm starting to get used to it and know what the movement feels like and can really work hard at it with good form. But if you're doing that all the time, constantly changing, then you might be hurting yourself. You know, if you go to the gym and it's really full, like I have my garage gym, it's not an issue, I can do what I want. But if you are on a time crunch, there's other people using stuff, then yeah, you know, use something else if it's better than doing nothing. But if you can stick with your main programming movements, then it's really gonna help you out in the long run. And then the last time I would say to change something up is if you hit a plateau. For instance, with my bench pressing, same thing, I've got a video link below with how I do my typical push sessions, but I would always start with incline bench, and then I go to flat bench, either with the bar or dumbbells, then move on to some other lifts like overhead presses and accessories like flies, tricep stuff, all that good stuff. It's all in the workout if you want to check it out. But for about 4 to 6 weeks almost, I just hit a wall with my bench pressing on my incline press. I was doing 195 for 10, and then on my heavy days I'd be doing 215 for trying to get 5 to 6, and I just have not been able to break through it. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna start going back to doing flat bench first, and then maybe do some incline dumbbell presses. So essentially I'm doing the same movements, but I'm just changing up the order, doing a little differently, because if I start with flat bench first, I can use heavier weights because flat is easier, because normally I do incline first, then move to flat, so I'm already a little bit tired. So now I can already start with more weight on the flat, get used to feeling heavier weight that I wouldn't be doing on incline. And then when I move back to incline, maybe in, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, we'll see if I break through that plateau. And I'm adding some other things in there as well, trying to do a little extra volume, doing some really heavy, just unracking and holding the heavy weight to get used to feeling that. I was doing 315 the other day, just holding it for 15 seconds at a time with my arms shaking all over the place. But that's the type of things that I suggest changing your routine for. If you have a workout program that you enjoy, then just stick with it. Keep going, try to keep progressing. And like I said, I don't necessarily like lunges, but I am limited in what I could do. But since I've got more weights that I built up over time, I can use a lot of those bumper plates to do the belt squat that I'm working on now. And I actually enjoy that more than lunges because unilateral movements with legs is really taxing because you're going back and forth one leg at a time, and the set takes twice as long, and my heart rate gets up to like 170, 180 sometimes. And it is rough, and it really gasses me for the rest of the workout. So doing these belt squats has been nice. But the big thing is find something you like, track your progress, stick with it, and only make changes if there's some good reason to. Don't just change for the sake of shocking the body. There's gonna be times when you go on vacation or you get sick or you can't work out the same, you're in a different place. That's where you can shock your body with doing exercises that you're not used to. But when you can, stick with your program, work hard. That's all we have for this video. So hopefully it was helpful, hit that like button. Let me know any comments you have on the matter below. At Camber Fitness, Instagram, all kinds of good stuff there. I'm gonna go hang out with my wife now and watch TV and play with the baby. So we'll see you soon.